So this restorative yoga class is perfect for beginners if you're brand new to yoga and if you're feeling exhausted and burned out, you are going to love this restorative yoga class for beginners. So, hi, I'm Melissa, and this is Yoga with Melissa, and today we are recording live, so special hello and thank you to everybody who's joined us live. For this restorative yoga class, it's for beginners, so we're going to need some props, but you may not have them. If you don't have them, you can just lay down a blanket on the ground if you don't have a yoga mat. You can make a bolster by just rolling up the pillow on your bed and a blanket, like I've done here. Blocks, if you don't have yoga blocks, you can just use a stack of books. Just be careful that you don't fall. And you're going to need a wall, so clear space on the wall. And speaking of that, we are going to start with legs up the wall. So the way to come into legs up the wall is to, and actually if you have any back issues, it may be better for you to start with legs up a chair or legs up the couch, because then your knees will be bent and that's going to be easier on your back. But the way to come up to legs up the wall is just to put your hips right up the side of the wall, and then you're going to swing your legs around.
Not much impact on the knee, right?
This is fine for knees. Yeah, good idea to ask questions. Just the back is all you have to be careful of with legs up the wall, because it can put a lot of strain on the low back. So if that's the case, then you can just bend your knees on the legs at the wall, or you can just bend your knees with your legs at the wall. So just always check it and see how it feels in your body too. So there's no weight bearing on your knee joints here, so that's fine. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. And let it fall out of your mouth. And just start to feel into your body. So feel how the back of your pelvis and your torso, your shoulders, your head are all resting heavy on the ground. So legs up the wall is great for your circulation. Blood that's pooled at the extremities can be exchanged, can start to go back to the heart with more ease. So you may even be able to feel that, the blood flow from the ankles, the lower legs, starting to shift down through the legs like sand flowing through an hourglass. So you can just start to feel into the inside of your body and notice what's happening. Another fluid system in your body is your lymphatic system. And lymph flows upward against gravity as well in your body. And here, when you're lying upside down like this, it allows the lymph to flow with greater ease. So legs up the wall is great for your immune system as well. So in restorative yoga, we take long held, passive restorative yoga postures using props. So in this case, our prop is the wall. And you're completely supported. So you let go of all the tension in your body so that you can let go and rest. And this pose is also an antidote to exhaustion, and it's generally incredibly revitalizing. So just notice how you're feeling here now. We've only been in this pose for 5 minutes. Because it's a beginner class, we're not going to stay super long in these restorative poses, but you could stay in legs up the wall for 10, 20 minutes quite easily. But just notice, even after 5 minutes here, if you are feeling a little bit more energized, a little bit more revitalized, this is a great pose that you can take as breaks at any point in your day. It's often one that I'll take between working on the computer. It's just a great pose to bring your energy back into your body fairly quickly. Okay, so we're going to come out of this pose slowly, paying attention to our bodies and our energy. So you're going to bend your knees and roll to the side. And you can leave your mat or your folded blanket where it is in your space if that's convenient for you, or you can move it to a more convenient place. And then we're going to do bridge pose with a block. So if you have a block, you can use a block. If not, you could take a stack of books, or you could even take that bolster that you made with a rolled up pillow. And you're going to lie on your back with your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. Press into your feet and place the block underneath your pelvis. Now, it doesn't need to be on a very high setting. In fact, it could even be lower here. So we're not really trying to go for height here necessarily, because this is a restorative class. So you might be wondering why we practice restorative yoga. Why should you do restorative yoga? So restorative yoga really offers us the opportunity for conscious relaxation, as opposed to the kind of mindless relaxation that you might normally do when you scroll through Instagram or watch mindless YouTube videos or television. So it's conscious relaxation. And all that means is that we are focusing on what we're doing when we are relaxing here. So when you're in the bridge pose, you pay attention to how your body's feeling. You feel your feet on the ground. You feel the sensation of the block underneath your sacrum here. You feel the openness of your chest here. So this pose, this restorative bridge pose, it really opens up your chest. It lengthens your spine. It strengthens your parasympathetic nervous systems. That's your rest and your digest. It helps to relieve stress and mild depression. It improves digestion and it stimulates your abdominal organs. It'll help to improve the quality of your sleep and combat insomnia. It'll stimulate your thyroid gland. It'll really release the discomfort of menstrual cramps. So this isn't a great pose to practice when you're menstruating because your pelvis is inverted, but it's very calming for the lower abdominal organs. It reduces anxiety and headaches and fatigue. So again, not a great one when you're in an acute headache, but again, because it's so calming, it's great to prevent. It's good for low back pain. And it's fabulous to elongate the spine all the way from the base up to the shoulders. Yeah, you could use a foam roller for this instead. If you had a foam roller and not a block, that would be a good substitute. Okay, so you're going to come out of this pose. You're going to push into your feet. Slowly lower down. And we're just going to do a little counter pose there. Just hug your knees into your chest. If you have any knee issues, hold on behind your knees. Okay. And then we're going to do a side bend here. So for this one, let's take our bolsters. So I'm going to show you using the handmade bolster. And you're probably going to need another pillow. So I'm going to use my meditation cushion. And what we're going to do is open up the side of your body. So all you're going to do, the side of our body tends to get really shortened from a lot of sitting. And so this is going to feel really good. You're just going to zigzag your legs here, lie over the pillow or bolster, and then support your head here and reach your top arm overhead. Okay, you could bend both your legs, or for more side body stretch, you're going to zigzag them. So many yoga styles are about doing more, accomplishing more, achieving certain yoga poses. And restorative yoga is really about doing less. So in a power yoga class, the effort might be in building cardiovascular or muscular strength. But in a restorative yoga class, there's still effort. The effort is just different. The actual effort in a restorative yoga class is a willingness to explore how and where we're holding tension in our body and to relax into the ground. So when we're willing to release the habitual and unnecessary tension in our body, our minds can also soften. And then we can also allow our breath to come into our body in a deeper way. So in these poses, we keep looking for, that's our job, that's part of the conscious relaxation, to explore where there's tension and seeing if we can soften a little bit. So for me, there's a bit of tension in and around my neck and the just around the shoulders. So I bent my top arm a little bit and that softened that. And also just breathing into those parts of your body where there's tension. And sometimes just by paying attention to the part of your body where there's tension, the light of awareness will help to soften it as well. Okay, so you're going to slowly release this pose from this side, and then we're going to come over onto your other side. So if you've got your handmade bolster, you might want to just fluff it up a little bit. So your arm goes between the space between the pillow and the bolster, and you're going to zigzag your legs for a little bit more of a side bend. So these side bends are so great to improve your breathing capacity. They really open up your breath because they open up the intercostal muscles. They also increase your spinal mobility. They open up the sides of the vertebra of the spine. They give you a better body symmetry. That reminds me of that limerick, Betty bought some better butter. But they give you some better body symmetry. So oftentimes we have one side of our body that's shorter than the other. So side bends help to even out our bodies from things like habitual sitting patterns or holding purses on one side of our body or bags. And also better range of motions through our shoulders and hips. So you'll probably notice that you feel the side bends mostly in your shoulder joints, in your hip joints. So it's incredibly beneficial for your shoulder and hip joints as well. Better range of motion in those joints. And also when you're in your restorative side bend, make sure you're not rolling forward. So make sure you're actually on your side. Okay, then we're going to slowly release the side bend from your body. The next pose takes a bit of setting up. So you're going to place your bolster at the bottom of your mat, and you're going to prop it with a cushion. So like that. So it's kind of elevated. And then for this pose, you're going to need 2 blocks. And if you don't have 2 blocks, you're going to use cushions. They're actually going to go under your shoulders. And then it's a bit of getting into, but it's worth it. And then what you're going to do is your legs are going to go up the... So I'm going to need to move that down further. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your knees at the base of the bolster and your legs up the bolster. And you're going to tuck your... Basically, you're going to lie on your stomach and tuck these blocks underneath your shoulders. So it's a supported back bend. And because this sounds going to be so bad, I won't say anything in this pose. But just notice how over time, how your energy gets restored over time. And just relax into the props here and let the pose do its magic, okay? And breathe. Okay, so you're going to release this pose from your body. And as you do, I will tell you that this pose will help you to improve your posture. It's a supported back bend. It helps to relieve stress, and it opens up the chest, the shoulders, the belly, and the thighs. So it's a great pose. So actually, let's just keep the bolster like this here. On this side, you could just turn around. And we're going to use this for our twist now. So you're going to come onto all fours, walk your knees to the left side, lower your hips to the ground, and then be super long in your spine and lie down over your bolster. And then you're in your twist. Quite liking this homemade bolster. It's very comfy.
Very cool pose. Did you make that one yourself?
The locust one?
Oh, it's called locust.
Yeah.
Blocks on?
No, I did not make it up. I found it on the interwebs. It's a really cool one. It's probably one of my most favorite restorative poses. Yeah, it's I find that locust pose, the one we just did, it's very rejuvenating. And so for those of you that follow me, for those of you who already know this, but for those of you that are new to this channel, because it's beginner class, I teach a lot of yin yoga as well, and I follow a lot of the philosophy of traditional Chinese medicine. So I think the reason why that pose is so rejuvenating is that it pools the energy around the kidneys, and that helps to stimulate your jing qi. So it's incredibly energizing and revitalizing. So I find when I'm quite tired and my energy is quite depleted, that can be a really great restorative yoga pose to get into and just rest into. That one, legs up the wall. I mean, any restorative yoga pose, but that one particularly, I find that the energy restores quite beautifully. And I think it's because of the stimulation of the kidneys. Now, did I start the timer for that pose? Okay, so ultimately, the reason why we practice restorative yoga is to explore how and where we're holding tension in our bodies in order to release the tension. So, whether that tension is being held in our physical body, our minds, or our emotional bodies. So oftentimes when we come into these long holds, you might find you have an emotional release. The long holds of the restorative yoga classes will allow us to release the tension in whatever form. Tension, stress, anxiety, all of that. We can release it into the props and into the ground throughout the pose and throughout the length of the restorative class. Okay, so let's go ahead and come into the twist on the other side. So come back up to the center and then walk your knees over to the right side. Lower your hips down. Lengthen up long through your spine and lie down over the bolster on the other side. So these twists are fantastic for back pain, particularly for the lower back. They help to really release the lower back. They help to elongate all the tiny muscles that are running along the spine. So fantastic for back pain, as I mentioned. They massage all the abdominal organs, so they're great for digestion. And they're really great for relieving tension. So tension in the body, so that also translates to tension in the mind, so it helps to quiet the mind as well. So keep checking in where there's tension in your body and release it if you can. Let go. Okay, and then we're going to release this twist from our body. And we're going to come into our final pose for this restorative yoga class, which is recline bound angle pose. So keep your prop the way you have it set up, nice incline bolster here. Bring the soles of your feet together. And then there'll be some space between your knees and the ground. And you want to fill that with pillows. So I'm going to use the blocks that I have here. And then you're going to rest back over your bolster. And take your arms out to the side so it opens up your chest. So keep noticing where there's tension in your body. It might be in your inner thighs, maybe in your chest, maybe the back of your neck. And just relax that tension down and into the earth. And you're going to stay resting back here in this pose, and I'm going to sit up. So reclined bound angle pose is great for lowering blood pressure, decreasing your heart rate, decreasing muscle tension, particularly in your inner thighs, in your chest. It's great for headaches, relieves fatigue and insomnia, reduce nervous tension and stress, and it's great for relief from anxiety and panic attacks as well. And so I usually finish my classes by reading in the final pose or in Shavasana a poem. So I have a poem for you today from this little book of poems, which I'm sure is out of print because I got it at a used bookstore and it's from 1978. So I won't even bother to tell you. But if it resonates with you, great. If you like it. The poet is Julia Moe. She was a lighthouse keeper at Kane's Island Light near the northern tip of Vancouver Island, which is where I live. And it's from a collection called December Tide, which was her first book. And if the poem resonates with you, great. I'm happy. And if it doesn't, I am not offended. You don't have to like the poem. The poem is called Some Days Never Grow Large. The tide moves silently up and down the beach, not too high, not too low. Discreetly from a distance, the sound of seagulls comes into the bay, the squalling muffled by the low white sky. Drizzling rain has filled the day quietly, barely wet enough to soak your shirt. Trollers drift by. I don't hear their engines at all. And the island's heron makes the rounds without one hoarse cry. The tide moves silently up and down the beach, not too high, not too low. Discreetly from a distance, the sound of the seagulls comes into the bay, the squalling muffled by the low white sky. Drizzling rain has filled the day quietly, barely wet enough to soak your shirt. Trollers drift by. I don't hear their engines at all, and the island's heron makes the rounds without one hoarse cry. So you can slowly invite some movement back into your body and use your inner thigh muscles and your core muscles to bring your legs back together. Roll to your side. And slowly make your way up to seated. We're going to sit together for a moment to close out the class. So the way I finish the classes is with a mantra and mudra series. And because it's a beginner class, how about I teach you how I do the mantra series and mudra series? It simply means, may all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute to the happiness and freedom for all. And the way it works is that it gathers the fruits of our practice into ourselves first, so that we can be of service, and then we offer the fruits of our practice out into the world. So it starts with the left palm up and the right palm down, and then you bring your hands around, you interlace your fingers, except for your thumbs, which go parallel to each other. Let's see. And then you rest that on your third eye, above, between, in the middle of your forehead. And then you bring your thumb and index finger together and you just cross your wrists here. And then you keep that mudra, thumb and index fingers together, all the other fingers extended, and you bring the outsides of your hands together and you bring the heels of your hands together at your forehead. Okay? So that's how it works. Okay? And you can just listen the first time. I sing it 3 times, so if you want to join in, you can join in. Or you can just listen. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. So give yourself a thumbs up for finishing this class, for doing this restorative yoga class, for taking that time in stillness to restore your energy. Today is so needed, for most of us are in winter right now when our energy gets really dull. It's great to rejuvenate your energy. And if you know somebody who's suffering from exhaustion and burnout, which is so many people in our culture right now, and maybe hasn't tried yoga, then you could share this with them. That's a good idea. Patrick, thank you, Patrick, shared it with 3 people. Thank you, Patrick. And, you guys could be like Patrick. You could set a goal for yourself to share it with 3 people. That would be amazing. And then put, I feel restored in the comments. Put I feel restored in the comments. And I want to thank so many of our viewers are very calm. Yes, they're very calm people, but they're also very considerate and supportive of our show. They know how many people it helps all around the world, and they like to support us in doing that. And so you can also offer us donations. There's a link on our website that allows you to do that. And I want to thank Maura and Cornelia, Donna, and Sean for your donations today. So we have some time for some questions and comments, and we can chat a little bit here. So Tim will feed those to me, but there's probably a little bit of a lag. So if you have any questions or comments, questions about restorative yoga or any of the styles of yoga I teach, yin yoga, or we can do an Ask Me Anything too. I'm feeling brave today. You can leave them in the comments box, and I'll get to those as the leg comes. But I just want to say for beginners out there as well, we have an 8-week beginner course in our membership community. So although there's tons and tons, probably thousands and thousands of beginner yoga classes out there in the YouTube land, I know it's completely overwhelming, and they're not in any particular order. It's completely disorganized. And so what I've done in our membership community is I've created this 8-week course, which has a beginner yoga class every day. I put them in order. It's all nicely laid out in a course, and you can bookmark your favorites, and it's, as I said, in order, and so that there's a structure to it, and you don't have to waste your time finding classes. You don't have to worry that you've missed anything key. Like, all the poses are there, all the components of the class are there, all the jargon is there, anything that a teacher might say is going to be in there. So it's a very comprehensive course, and we have people going through it all the time, and then there's the structure and the support that you need. So it's not completely disorganized, like just the kind of realm of YouTube. So if that's something that would be of interest to you, the other thing is that built into each week is, it's not just like 7 days of yoga where you're just never going to have rest. There's beginner yoga nidra sleep yoga, there's beginner restorative yoga in there as well. So it's fantastic for beginners. So we'll put the link to our membership community in there as well. So what have we got? Questions, comments?
Close off here and then stay on the line afterwards.
Okay, so we're going to close up the class. I'm sending, and then we'll close up the recording so that we've got a beautiful recording, and we'll stay online to talk to our live people. So I'm sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. May your joy be as deep as our ocean. May you be as grounded as the old growth trees in our forest. May you be as strong as our mountains. Om Shanti. Namaste.